Okay.
So good evening and welcome to Matinee free webinar. Today we have a very expert speaker from UK, RAZA Khan. He is doing many things, basically in emotional intelligence as well as positive mental health. As we know, for this 21st century onwards, so much importance for these two keywords, PMH, positive mental health, as well as emotional intelligence. As we know, as we know, emotional intelligence is one of the very important portfolio as well as positive mental health. So today, I'm welcoming Mr. Asa Khan from UK on behalf of you all, and you are welcome, Mr. Asa Khan.
Thank you, Dr. Srikalam. Good afternoon, hello, and welcome to this presentation. I do my best to bring some examples and talk about a lot of things because emotional intelligence is very close to my heart. And for me, it is very, very important for us to actually implement the emotional intelligence in the household environment, especially because majority of the time we talk about the emotional intelligence in the workplace, but in reality it actually starts from home. So, but I'm not going to delve into that. But today we're going to talk about the cultivating the emotional intelligence for positive mental health. And especially I'm going to look at the Asian insight from the Asian culture. When I'm talking about the Asian culture, I'm talking about the Asian subcontinent, not specific to India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, or Sri Lanka, or I'm talking about the China, talking about Japan, I'm talking about South Korea, all those areas. So this is what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to give you some of the examples which actually goes on for centuries. And yet in today's environment, we have forgotten about what those practices were and how important they were. So with that, I'll start that. In our fast-paced world, we are interconnected because of the advent of internet and technology. But emotional intelligence or positive mental health are vital for our well-being because social media may be bringing us together. Computers and technology are bringing us together, but at the same time, making us isolated because we're too busy, looking at the people's and appreciation from the other people's and that sort of thing. So, and that's what causes a lot of problem. That causes a isolation within ourselves. But this particular one, because there was this particular presentation or article was written specific around the social workers, but this will allow or apply to any profession within the Asian culture. Because a couple of days ago, I was watching this TikTok, and this particular gentleman, he was talking about is that how the the management or how the management and the people does not interact. And if a young person has a great idea, what they do is they cut them off. They don't allow them. They want them to have a more experience before they start putting their ideas together. So these all related to the emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, for this one, we're going to talk about the social worker, but actually applies to the care industry across the board. Doctors, nurses, the male nurses, technicians, all those things. So is a deep understanding of connection between the emotional intelligence and positive mental health in the individual. It is essential for effective support and care. And especially when you're in the care industry, you are interacting with the other person. But if your own emotions are not intact, you don't know who you are, you don't know what your visions are. What happens is that the care does not get provided properly, causes a friction, causes a problem. And at the same time, the individuals or the company gets the bad name and the care workers get taken out because now the care industry is very, very well legalized. You have to follow the legal rules and things like that. So it is important to understand your own emotions. Moreover, exploring the wisdom and cultural practice within of the Asian societies can offer you a valuable insight. So if you understand our inheritance, our roots, it makes it a lot easier for us to understand exactly what's going on, and we can apply those ones, right? This particular presentation delves into the symbiotic relationship between the emotional intelligence and positive mental health, focusing on Asian cultures and examples that exemplifies their impact in our daily lives. So that's what we're talking about. Now, so let's have a look at it. The positive mental health and its importance. Emotional intelligence often refer to EQ, which we all know means that self-awareness, empathy, self-control, relationship management, social awareness, all those things. But this is combining all of them together. And we, as an individual or as a group, we can recognize and understand our own emotions effectively. It involves empathizing with the others' emotions, using the awareness to build a stronger relationship. So if you're fully self-aware, if you're confident enough, what happens? And if you have a self-control, because you don't get the emotions, somebody says something and then you just jump and start causing and be angry, be frustrated. But if you understand who you are, then you're not going to get angry. You're not going to get frustrated. You will understand the other people's point of view as well, and you will bring empathy and build a strong relationship. Dr. Goldman has emerged as he says that the emotional intelligence is a critical factor in personal growth, success, and the mental well-being. Because what happens is that if our emotions are not intact, self-control, we get stressed, we get frustrated, what we do is start eating things which is not healthy for us. Be it sweet, be it be a donuts or cakes or things like that. But the right amount is okay. But when we start eating, because we are stressed, we have anxiety, we start doing the binge eating, we are eating a larger portions, and that causes the problem. So that is very, very important to understand that and apply the emotional intelligence, apply the self-control. So this is what we were talking about. Okay. Now, basically, positive mental health goes beyond the absence of mental illness. It states that emotional and physical well-being characterized by resilience, optimism, as a positive outlook of life. I'm sure you've come across a lot of times, I'm having a bad day. I know there is going to be another bad day tomorrow. Well, how does he know? Because does he did the time travel, or did he have a crystal ball? He didn't have neither of those. But because his data is based on the yesterday, what happened when he was child, what happened when his parents was talking, or using negative languages. They didn't have that positive outlook. Hence the reason he has got that negative outlook as well. And the way he sees the life in a grim way. Now, how does that affect in the mental health? Hugely, because number one is that you don't believe in yourself. You have got, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I cannot do this. All these things impact our health mainly, and that impact on the stress, frustration, anxiety. And then we end up into antidepressants. We end up counseling therapies, which doesn't work. And I have a very close friend of mine who is, because of the way he was treated in the childhood by his mother, he always wanted a love and care from her, but he never got, and she died. They never closed that gap. Now he's gone through the treatment where his mind doesn't work properly. His body is constantly shaking. That's what it does to us. Achieving positive mental health allow us as an individual to and give us the tools and techniques to cope with the life challenges. We always have life challenges, maybe a mortgage, maybe kids going to the school, we have a jobs problem, we have all those things. But having those tools will allow us to build healthy relationship, maintain a sense of overall commitment and purpose, because we all have purpose of life. We all have a vision. But what happens when we are too busy in terms of running around and having a stress and having anger and having a frustration, all those things, we lost our purpose. We are in that rat race constantly. Okay. So now let's have a look at it. The interconnection between the emotional intelligence and positive mental health goes beyond the absence of mental illness. It's stated that it states that the emotional and physical well-being characterized by resilience, optimism, and outlook. That's what we're talking about, right? So let's start with the first one. What is the interconnection between the positive mental health and the emotional intelligence. The first one is we're talking about the self-awareness, which we deep dive into that. We all know how important it is, self-awareness. And self-awareness, how do you start? The tool, let me give you a quick tool and tip, is that even if it's a man or a woman, doesn't matter. If you look at the mirror and say, I love you and I forgive you, that's the start of the self-awareness, because what you're doing is that you forgiving yourself for being angry, for being frustrated, for being stressed, because now you suddenly start feeling the relief, and you feel your body is behaving in a different way, and then your outlook start getting better. That's one of the tools. And the other one you can use for the self-awareness is, we're going to deep dive into the next slides on these individually, but on the self-awareness, you can, when you have a trigger, when you're getting angry or stressed, understand those triggers by writing it down. When you write it down, it becomes very visible, because what happens is that if you keep that in mind, what caused that, you will forget. You've got 100 other things to do in a day. So it is important to be self-aware and understand what are those problems, what are those triggers, and how you can maintain those triggers. I mean, I can share, there is exercise called KCG, which means know yourself, choose yourself, and give yourself, which can be shared with later, which you can do it at home, and then apply that on a daily basis, and you will love it, and you will improve yourself big time. The next one is the empathy. We have to empathize with ourselves first. Forget about empathizing with others. Empathize with ourselves. Be kind to ourselves. Stop being critical. Because what happens is that when we are critical, we don't really care about other people, because we are self-critical. So we're going to criticize other people as well all the time. So empathize with yourself first. Be nice to you. Be kind to you. Because what happens is that when, I'm sure you've come across a lot of people, they are self-inflicting harms. They're suicide. All those things is that you are not nice to yourself. You're not empathizing with yourself. And that's why. And you showing, by the way, you're saying is that I'm taking a revenge. Revenge on who? You're taking a revenge on yourself for not being nice. That's what it is. So be nice to yourself. Empathy starts with you first before you share that with somebody else. Then we go to the next one is emotional regulation, which I've talked about, which is also known as self-control. Means that you have a choice being a healthy living or being a binge eating. You have a choice being angry, not being angry. You have a choice to take your time replying to somebody or not to not to reply somebody. This is where the impulsive behavior come into play, because I used to be very impulsive. Immediately cut somebody off, immediately respond to them. It's like, why the hell did he say that to me? I'm going to tell him off. I'm going to give my mind. You don't need to. He maybe is worthwhile understanding his situation before you actually give your mind to him or her. Maybe they're going through their problems. Maybe they're going through with their own family issues. Have a self-control. Think twice. If you don't like saying something, or if you like criticizing, don't say at all. And if you want to respond to an email, take 24 hours to respond to the email. By the time you calm down, you will understand exactly what's going on, and then you can respond to that. Or if you're angry and you're losing self-control, count 1 to 90. By doing that, actually, you're calm down. You understand what is the reason you're angry and you're frustrated. Then we're talking about social support. We all, especially in our Asian culture, we have families together, communities together, who come together and provide a social support. But in the modern day, we have lost that, which we'll talk about a bit more, and then I'll share with you some of the examples in what happens in the Asian culture previously, 100 years ago or 50 years ago. And the last one is optimism and gratitude. Okay. So, and then we have to be grateful for the life we have. Every day we open our eyes, we should be grateful and thankful. But what do? Oh, not another bad day. Really? Be thankful that you're breathing. Be thankful that you have got food on the table. Be thankful that you've got a nice car, nice house. There's a lot of people, because our problem is, as a community, as a new modern era we're living in, we're always looking into the rich people, but we're not looking at the people who is worse than us. So think about that. It is very, very important. Now let's jump into the next one. So we'll start with the self-awareness. Okay. Now, self-awareness is all about understanding your emotions, thoughts, reactions. That is fundamental to emotional intelligence and positive mental health. In our Asian culture, especially, practices like mindfulness, meditation have long been for cultivating this self-awareness, as they encourage individuals to understand who we are and connect. Right? Maybe sitting down for 5 minutes, not doing anything, close your eyes, relax. Yeah, take a deep breath. That's what we call mindfulness. It's been around for centuries, but we don't follow that, because in our modern day culture, we don't follow that. We're too busy. We don't have time for ourselves. When we are not self-aware, we are not loving ourselves, what happens? We become ill. We have got all sorts of issues going on in family. We cannot manage. All those things is happening. Let me share some of the examples. Zen practice in Japan. Japanese culture is deeply influenced by Zen Buddhism, which places a strong emphasis on self-awareness and mindfulness. Zen meditation, known as a Zazen, encourages individuals to sit silent in contemplation. Absolutely nothing. Observing their thoughts without judgment. Because what happens is that even though we have got thoughts is coming through, we are judging. If I do this, there would have been this. If I did that, there would have been that. No, just sit quietly. Don't judge. Whatever happened, happened. Calm down, chill for 5 minutes. Every day, 5 minutes, if you take out from your busy schedule for yourself, that will do a world of good to you. You have no idea how those 5 minutes, you will start following that religiously, those 5 minutes, because you will love that 5 minutes. Because in this modern day, we are constantly busy, running. We don't have time. We always want to be busy, because we are not self-aware. We are self-scared most of the time. That's why we want ourselves to be busy, because we are scared of ourselves. We are scared of our mind, right? We want to have a music on. We want to have people around us. No, be self-aware and love yourself and happy to be alone. 5 minutes in a day, that's it. So this particular practice of Zen practice in Japan allows you to be self-aware, to become fully present in the moment. Because what happens is that from the previous data, from the past data, what we do, we predict the future. Well, future is a movie we yet to make. Present, we have to work on to make the future movie. Past movie is gone. You cannot change that. But you can change your present to change your future. That is very, very important. Through these Zen practices, individuals learn to recognize the patterns of their mind and gain insight in their own nature. We need to understand the nature, our core values, our principles. But when we are not aware, we don't know what those core values are. So understand that. That is important. The second example is the Ayurveda in India. In Asian Indian holistic healing system, self-awareness was a cornerstone of achieving balance and well-being. Ayurveda encourages individuals to tune into their bodies, emotions, and mind to identify imbalances and areas of disharmony. Practices like journaling, self-reflection, mindful eating are promoted to enhance the self-awareness. By observing how different foods, activities, and experiences affect their well-being, individuals can make informed choices that support their physical and emotional health. I mean, I can give you more example. Let me just deep dive a bit more example in that. In there, let me just have a look. These are some of the examples which I've come across. especially around the Asian culture. So let me have a look at these, some more examples. I mean, I'm not going to deep dive into that, but I'm just going to give you high level in terms of what those are. Okay. Let me just look. Okay. Yoga in India, team meditation in Japan, mindful Buddhism, Qigong in China, and then there is a Vipassana meditation in South Asia. By all means, have a look at it, learn the techniques, apply it. And then the other one is a calligraphy in East Asian culture, Tai Chi in China. So these are some of the examples of the examples which is being around in Asian culture for such a long time, but we have forgotten because of the modern day era. These examples from Asian culture illustrates the diverse ways in which self-awareness is cultivated and valued back then. Why not we apply those again? Because they are available, they're easy. We can take time, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes every day, which we can take it out for ourselves. Each practice encourages individuals to turn their attention inwards. You really want to know your inner world, inwards, in order to impact the outer world. Fostering a deeper understanding of other thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Self-awareness is a foundational aspects of emotional intelligence. It plays a significant role in promoting personal growth, enhancing relationship, and support overall well-being. And that's self-awareness. Now let's have a look at the let's have a look at the which we are talking about now is the empathy. Now, what is empathy? Let's have a look at it deeper. Okay, sorry. Okay. The ability to empathize with ourselves and others. I've already talked about the empathy with us first. Emotions is essential. Emotional intelligence is one of the most fundamental things to learn. Empathize with ourselves and then empathize with somebody else. In our Asian society, cultivatist values often emphasizing the importance of showing compassion, understanding towards others, leading to a stronger social bond. Right? Look at this, the respect for elders in China, South Korea, Japan. There is a deep respect for elders influence culture. They call it Confucian influence culture. Younger generation prioritize understanding and valuing the experience and emotions of older family members. Same in Asian culture, same in Indian culture, same in Pakistani culture, Bangladeshi culture. But the modern era is taking that away. We are too busy. We don't have time for our elderly. This emphasis on empathy fosters strong family bonds and enriches intergenerational relationship. The relationship is broken. We need to go back and connect with our younger self and our younger generation. We are living in our own world far too long. Now let's get back. If we want the next generation to be emotionally intelligent and connected with us, then we need to go back and touch with them and work with them. Okay, and that increases our emotional well-being. The other one is community support in India, Indian villages. That's what it was a big thing. It still is, especially if you go into the villages, either Asian continent villages, if you go, there is a big thing. If one person is in a problem, whole community, whole villages come together to solve the problem, right? So there's a strong ties. When someone faces challenges, neighbors come together to offer help and support. This is a collective empathy, creates a safety net, ensuring that no one left alone to face difficulties. The other example, let me just give you some other examples on that one as well. Okay. Festival of sharing in Nepal. Obligation to help in Thai culture. Harmony in Japanese society. Sharing joy and sorrow in Filipino culture. Right? Compassionate monasteries in Tibetan Buddhism. These examples illustrate the collectivity's value in Asian culture naturally foster empathy by emphasizing the importance of considering the emotions and well-being of others. This society creates a strong foundation for building emotional intelligence and nurturing a positive relation. Okay, that's what is empathy. Now let's have a look at the emotional regulation. In the managing emotions, which I've already talked about, and responding appropriately to various situations contributes to emotional intelligence and positive mental health. Asian culture, especially practices like yoga, martial arts, teaches individuals to control their emotions, fostering a sense of inner peace and emotional balance. Yoga in India. Yoga is a holistic practice emphasizing the connection between mind, body, and breath. Through various postures, controlled breathing techniques, individuals learn to regulate their emotions. For example, practice of pranayama. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing wrong, but please do correct me. Or breath control helps calm the mind down and soothe emotions. Regular yoga practices equip individuals with the tools to manage stress, anxiety, other emotions, fostering a sense of inner peace. Then the other one is the martial arts in East Asia. Martial arts like Taekwondo, Karate, Japan, Kung Fu, China emphasize self-discipline, emotional control. Practitioners learn not only a physical technique, but also a mental and emotional restraint. Through rigorous training and practices, individuals can channel their emotions constructively, promoting emotional balance and resilience. The practice of Kai, energy cultivating in martial arts, further contribute to the emotional regulation. Then you've got mindful breathing in Buddhism. Various Asian cultures, mindfulness practice within the Buddhism includes the technique that focuses on the breath as we regulate our emotions. By paying attention to breathe normally, take a deep breath, individuals can calm their mind down and reduce the feeling of anger, anxiety, and frustration. This practice is often used in meditation to cultivate emotional balance and tranquility. These are some of the examples which I'm talking about has been used in the Asian cultures for centuries. Offer effective technique, managing emotions and promoting emotional regulation, whether through physical practices like yoga or martial arts, or a mindful-based activities like meditation, tea ceremonies. These traditions provide valuable tools for individuals to cultivate inner peace and emotional well-being. Okay. Now is the fourth one, social support. Healthy relationships are crucial for positive mental health. In our Asian culture, family bonds, community ties plays a significant role in providing a social support and a sense of belonging, which can enhance emotional resilience. I mean, if you look at it, that my father, his father from Jaipur, India. So it's like a connectivity. We are connecting that bond. Maybe somebody I know, maybe somebody who lives in UK, maybe somebody's living in Kerala. There is a connection. We are building that connection. And it is very, very important for, especially for Asians, to connect our roots, understand what those roots or what they were like back then. You know, in this example, we're talking about the extended families in India, where the community and the family working together under one roof, living and working together under one roof in the close proximity in a common practice, was a common practice back then. It still is. In a lot of places, it still is. Because we need that social support. We need that support from the parents, from the siblings, from the uncle and aunts. In the modern and Western world, that is no longer exist. Because as soon as the child is 18-year-old, he wants to leave. He wants to live his own life. They teach individualism. So there is no social support. When the kids born with a single family, husband and wife, when the kids born, there is no social support. But in our culture, there is a social support. Either my mom, their mom, or my uncle or my aunt, or somebody will be there to support us, or our grandparents. This arrangement provide us a built-in support system from grandparents to cousins, family members, of our emotional support during the time of stress and difficulty. The sense of belonging within the extended family contributes to a positive mental health. Yes, I belong to somebody. Yeah, if I done something wrong, somebody is there for me to help me and support me, or guide me, maybe give me an advice on something different. They say that it takes a village to develop a child. Well, in Southeast Asia, that's what it is. The concept of it takes a village is a prominent in many South Asian cultures. Communities come together to celebrate festivals, support local initiatives, and provide help when needed. Right? When I was growing up, my father was not around with me. He was working in Saudi Arabia as a doctor, but my uncle, my aunts, they were around me. They were providing that support. They were helping me to grow up. I'm sure majority of the people who are with me today, they've gone through the similar scenarios. So we have got this sense of belonging for a social support. And we, as an individual, we know we can rely on neighbors and friends, which will enhance our emotional resilience. Again, these are the examples demonstrate how a strong family bond is and sense of community contribute to a social support and emotional resilience in a various Asian culture. Sorry about that. This interconnectedness within the families and community creates a network of care, belonging, and promoting a positive mental health and ability to navigate challenges with greater strength. I was very close to my uncle. Similarly, somebody is very close to their grandfather or a grandmother. Or my younger brother was very close to my grandfather. So is that connectivity is actually breathe a positive mental health and allow us to navigate from the challenges which we have in our life. Because remember that they have gone through those experiences. So it's always a good idea to learn from those experiences and not to apply. Because if you're not going to learn, what's going to happen, that we're going to make a mistake and we're going to cause ourselves a problem. But if we listen and learn and talk to them and share the ideas, they will come up with the alternative solutions. You can do this way or that way. Hence, the social support is so important. Now let's have a look at the last one, optimism and a gratitude. Cultivating a positive outlook and gratitude are essential to emotional intelligence and positive mental health. When you get up in the morning, you say thank you for me to have another day in this world and breathe. Thank you for having a food on the table. Thank you for giving me kids, family, relations, all those things. We have long forgotten what we need to do is we need to bring it back. In our, especially the Asian cultures, festivals and traditions often revolve around expressing gratitude, reinforcing the importance of appreciating the life blessing. Life to us is a blessing, is a magic and is a blessing. But we don't count, we treat our body, our life as a rented or a second-grade car. If it's a rented car, you don't care, you just dump everything. But if it's your own private car, you want to make sure that it's shiny, tidy, clean. That's what our body should have as well. Okay. The example of that is the harvest festivals in various Asian countries. Harvest festivals are celebrated across Asia with the deep sense of gratitude for nature abundance. For instance, Mid-Autumn Festival in China, Vietnam, Pongal, India are occasions to give thanks for the harvest and express gratitude for sentence provided by the land. These festivals reinforces the importance of recognizing the life blessing and fostering a positive perspective. Visak in Buddhist culture, Visak celebrated in countries like Sri Lanka, Thailand, Cambodia, commemorates the birth, enlightenment, and passing of the Buddha. During the Visak, acts of kindness, giving, and gratitude emphasize the tradition of offering to monks and engaging in charitable activities instill in a sense of gratitude and cultivates a positive outlook. These are the examples which is a showcase how festivals and traditions in Asian cultures create an opportunity for expressing gratitude, fostering a positive outlook, and nurturing emotional intelligence. By weaving gratitude into a cultural practice, individuals are reminded to appreciate life blessing which we have and maintain an optimistic perspective, contributing towards positive mental health and well-being. Okay. Now let's have a look at it. Look at this implication of work for social worker, cultural sensitivity. I'm gonna be almost there. Let's have a look at the social worker's life or any other workers who are in the care industry. Incorporating this emotional intelligence and positive mental health principles into our practice can lead to more effective and empathic support to our clients, or a patient, or a family member, or somebody within the vicinity we are working with. Understanding the cultural context is essential when working with individuals, especially from Asian background. I mean, I know this could be ideal for the people in the Europe because they don't know how to interact with the Asians. They don't know how to understand their cultural values and things like that. But it is important for us to understand that. And not only if we can apply those ones, we can interact with the other cultures as well without any problems. Number one, cultural sensitivity. Being mindful of a cultural practice and beliefs can facilitate more meaningful connection with the clients and foster positive and therapeutic influences or alliances. Now, there was a movie, and I think it's a true story as well, that is in France, people, they are very biased towards their own people, right? But this guy, he was a very rich guy. He had an accident and he ended up in the wheelchair. And then he was looking for a care worker, and that care worker, he ended up hiring a black care worker. Now, black care worker gave him a enthusiasm and life and happiness back. I mean, there is a movie on that. But that care worker understood the French culture, and then he applied that. But he bring that guy back into life, because once you're in the wheelchair, that's it. Your life is gone. That's it. That's how we think. That's how we react. Okay. Community involvement, encouraging clients to engage with their community and maintain the social connection line within the Asian cultural values, contributing to emotional well-being. I mean, this is very specific around the insight from the Asian culture, but this is what happens. Then the last one is a mindful technique. Introducing a mindful-based intervention can be valuable for clients, develop self-awareness and emotional regulation. But if you don't know these things, what happens that you will have problems with the end clients because you don't know how to manage them. You don't know how to. But if you apply some of those things from your own culture and then pass it on to the clients or the person you're caring for, believe you me, you have start transforming their life for good. You're giving them the life and the magic which they have long lost, long time ago. So it is very, very important. So to conclude this presentation, emotional intelligence and positive mental health, they are intertwined like this. You cannot separate them. It is important for personal well-being. In our Asian cultures, various traditions, practices exemplify the interplay between emotional intelligence and positive mental health. But as a worker, recognizing and integrating those practices into our approach can empower us to support our end clients more effectively, be in the technology, be in the care industry, be in the the other domains. But if you start applying those ones, people will care for you, people will listen to you, right? You're supporting your end clients more effectively. Maybe you're a salesman, but apply those techniques. Your clients will love you. They will listen to you because you have a vested interest in your heart up for them. And that will allow you towards emotional well-being and fulfilling life. By embracing a wisdom of Asian culture and combining into a contemporary insight into emotional intelligence, we can create more empathic and cultural sensitive approach to mental health support. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Let me just...
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So it is a really eye-opener on behalf of PMS as well as emotional intelligence, and you are really expressing the contributions of Eastern culture on behalf of these two important parameters, positive mental health as well as emotional intelligence. And you are expressed many important topics again regarding empathy, how it directly related with the PMS and EI, and also self-awareness. That is very important thing, and more emphasized as self-awareness as well as self-empathy. What we have with us, what is our contribution towards ourselves. And the third area that's very interesting, as well as it is an eye-opener for all Eastern area, because we are talking about the emotional regulation. And regarding emotional regulation, we have definitely in this Eastern culture, we have so many solutions that you have explained. Like in India, yoga is one of the wonderful experience of emotional regulation, and is so related to our history or ancient history of India, and similarly Zen Buddhism and many things from China. And one other thing is martial arts. That's also very important. How to cool body as well as mind. So how these contributions are directly connected to the positive mental health area as well as emotional intelligence. Actually, PMS and EI are twin brothers. We can say like that because it's mutually connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that area contribution from Eastern culture is very important, and really fantastic explanation. And one more thing, there is family bonding you are explaining, and similarly family connectivity is also one of the important areas. And you have mentioned about togetherness. There is importance of togetherness using or by making harvest festivals or so many festivals. And Eastern culture, there is a number of festivals, or even in Kerala also, we have every day we have some or other way we have celebrating festivals.
Oh,
so great. Yeah, and something regarding to optimism also, and thinking about our own life, so blessed life, but generally we are forgetting about our blessings. So really a wonderful talk. You have mentioned so many things towards Eastern culture. And I have one doubt, one question, that is, what is the alternative to the Western side for this? For particularly emotional regulation, yogas and meditation like that. What was the real method you are using in the Western area for this emotional regulation earlier time? Now mindfulness is that is popular anyway. So you have some idea about that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think the majority of the Western culture now moving towards the Asian culture as well, because there is a There is a lot of, I mean, if you look at the Western culture, there is a lot of brutality, a lot of killings. And if you go back, like Spain, 1877, they were like killing of religious people. Yeah. So, but now they are realizing is that the Asian culture was more of a harmony. They never like really, they didn't really fight that much. They didn't go and start invading other countries and things like that or taking over. But now Western cultures is realizing, and they're trying to embrace a lot more emotional intelligence and positive mental health. Now, especially, there's a lot of companies they're emphasizing that before, when you join an IA organization, you go through the courses, and in there, positive mental health and is becoming a big thing, especially after COVID, is becoming more and more. Because what happened was that before in the Western culture, that I am doing, I'm doing 8 hours to 10 hours a day job. Then I'm coming home. I'll see my wife and my kids only a couple of hours. I have a drink, food, and then I go out again to see my friends. And then I come home about, say, 11 o'clock and go to sleep and go to work. That was the kind of a norm. But in the COVID, what happened was that all three of them, the children, the wife, and the husband, got together. But they did not know what to do and how to interact 8 hours a day. When you start working from home, that was causing such a problem, and it's a huge issue in terms of in the Western culture, because immediately after the COVID, the divorce lawyer were very busy. Yeah. The children's suicide went up. All those things was causing a lot of problem, but now they're pushing the emotional intelligence in the school to teach to the children, at the same time teaching the emotional intelligence to the teachers, as well as they're teaching the emotional intelligence in the workspace. So now whenever I mention that, I actually talk about the emotional intelligence when I'm doing consulting work, they want to know more about it. So this is what they're trying to understand, exactly how they can improve themselves, because a lot of people in the Western culture, they're stuck. You mean just like our Asian culture, they had their own limiting belief. Remember the Second World War. There's a lot of people who retired from the Second World War. They had the army journals, Air Force pilots, all those things, but they treated their children exactly as they were the soldiers for them, and that causes a lot of problem. I mean, if you look at it, the Matt himself, he was the son of the army, the major or something. But he's gone through that. He's moved around a number of times, and he thought nobody loved him. That's why he moved around. All those things is causing a problem. Now, emotional intelligence, I mean, looking at those, our Asian culture, or even the religious aspects of it, Asian culture, well, the emotional intelligence has been around for centuries. Dr. Goldman, he just discovered and gave them name. But if you look at the Buddhism, Buddha was actually practicing the self-awareness by sitting down and thinking through and taking a deep breath. It's been around more than 2,000 years ago, right? All those things. So if you look at these practices, they've been around for a long, long time in the Asian culture, but they've not been around like that in the Western culture. But now they're in that state where they start adopting it. They start learning. People start learning the Reiki. People wants to, where's the mindfulness came from? Mindfulness came from the Buddhism, where people, they didn't know what the mindfulness is, but now they know what the mindfulness is. Means sit down, do nothing, and take a deep breath. That came from the Asian culture. So all those things, so now they are realizing, and now they are adopting. So this is what's going on in the Western culture at the moment.
And regarding an interview or a new admission, this emotional intelligence is very important, because majority of questions is come based on emotional intelligence, even less than, I think, IQ based. EQ is more important.
I mean, so thing is that, I mean, if you look at it, majority of especially in the technical industry, because that's where I belong to, and now I think because people get hired for their technical skills. People don't get hired for their emotional skills or social skills, which is wrong. But I think people should get hired by their emotional skills, because the technical skills can be taught, right? And that's what it is. So
Okay, thank you, sir. Shajiman, sir, anybody have some comments about emotional intelligence or about the topic? Shajiman, sir, please.
Raza's presentation is very nice.
Thank you.
I found his expression, future is the movie yet to make, changing the present to change the future. I like the expressions very much. Well, his problems arise because of lack of self-awareness, lack of empathy, self-control, lack of social support. And very often I feel people are not grateful for what they have got from by inheritance or so. People are not really thankful. That is, when we realize all these important things, many of the problems can be reduced at a greater level. When we see people practicing empathy, then more of humanity can be realized. Then many problems arise because of lack of self-control, and social support is very much necessary. So we in a little way, we all try to we have to practice it. Today I have been to my relatives' houses. My second son got his MBBS partially, yet to complete his surgery. So I have been to my brother's houses with the sweets, etc., from early morning to till now. In that way, that kind of social support I try to gather from them. So I feel my gratitude to my family members by expressing that, like that. So nowadays, emotional intelligence is getting more importance, or spiritual quotient, adversity quotient. Earlier, for interviews, etc., only intelligence quotients is supposed to be measured. Now situation is changing. Now all these other quotients are measured to get group discussion and personal interview, etc., etc. So it is an expression of self-awareness, and not only just in intellectual terms. As we developed, when we try to emulate Western culture, in a way we lost some of these natural qualities we have had. Now Westerners are trying to recognize it from East. It is said wisdom comes from the East. So Razakan sir's presentation have been very nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sabu sir.
Thank you, Shaji, sir. Anybody else? Good sir. Sheba ma'am, Sainaba ma'am, any comments? Tommy, sir. Okay, thank you. So thank you, Mr. Asakhan. It's a wonderful topic. For the last week also, we have dealing with the same topic, really wonderful. And we are expecting something more like, particularly for youth area, and as well as for middle-aged people, how to build more positive mental health, as well as more regulated emotional intelligence. So I think we'll wind up, and thank you very much once again for having such a very nice session for us. Thank you very much
for inviting me.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
that you inviting me.
So thank you and see you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Jacob sir, can you have something? Jacob sir?
No, it was a lovely presentation. Almost all the areas were talked upon by everyone. That's why I just kept quiet. I liked your talk, especially the way you presented things. We had all these things that we could follow from our own culture. So it's something like nothing new to learn, but at least keep following that. It was a great reminder. I liked your talk, all the things. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, Sakan. We will meet again with more valuable talks. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me. Have a good day.